Welcome to Krunching Gears, the podcast. I'm Kevin Glendinning, and I've been a rally fan for more years than I care to remember. There are certain sounds or words that can transport you back 20, 30 years to standing on the ditch or tuning into RPM on a Thursday night. The intention of this podcast is to hear some of the stories behind those moments.
What could you do in a works car with works backup, you think, Frank? Take it handy and win every rally around.
Bertie Fisher and Andrew Nesbitt have made the 1999 event a classic, as we have already said. Never has so much been provided for so many by so few.
Proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett.
Let's talk rallying and welcome along to part 2 of the Rory Kennedy interview. In this interview, Rory talks about his time in WRC with Alastair Ginley, getting the call from a young Fermanagh man, Garry Jennings, and the relationship that developed from there. Also, his time with Mark Higgins, and he claiming 2 BRC Co-driver titles, competing in his home Donegal Rally in a Works Mitsubishi, and giving the WRC champion a good race for his money in Donegal in the following year. He also talks about his time in China with Niall McShea, and then winning his beloved Donegal once again. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy. Join us again tonight. We have Rory Kennedy. Rory, the last time we looked back at your early career and we got up through your formative years with James Collin, went then to James McDade, into Vincent, then in with Bertie, and then after Bertie and all, then we looked at Stephen Finlay and your time with Brendan Kelly. We touched briefly on Alastair Ginley, and then in 2003 you started doing some WRC events with Alastair. How did all that come about?
That's right, Kevin. Again, the common denominator really was that Rally Tyres were our main sponsor when I was rallying with Bertie, and all the way up through the years, and we had very strong contacts there. And they were always interested in investing in young drivers, and getting them up and getting them out there. And Alastair Ginley had shown some promise at British Championship level and stuff. And I had good links with Pirelli, and Pirelli asked me would I go and sit on him on the Scottish Rally as a one-off event, and we were McKinstry's World Rally car. One of the first, I think it might have been a P2000 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we went to the Scottish Rally, and rally went quite well for us. We were second all the way through. Mark Higgins was leading. Mark broke down, and on the very next, we got into the lead then, and on the very next stage, we broke down, and we tried to fix the gear linkage broke. You see, we tried to fix it and put it back together. But of course, I was fiddling away and trying to put it back together, and I caught my hand on the down on the mechanism of the gear lever. And whatever happened at that point, I think the car just moved and my hand got pulled down into the gears, and I lost part of my fingers. In fact, I was very lucky I didn't lose them all. I just lost a part of one there, as you can see, and my hand has never been the same since. But anyway, I was lucky enough that it wasn't a permanent injury. I can cope with it very well. But that was the start. Me and Alastair, and Alastair's father came to me the following year then, the start of 2003, and said, look, we're going to do 8 World Rallies, and or maybe 5 World Rallies the first year and 8 the next year, or 8 the first year and 5 the next year, and would have been interested in coming along and getting involved. So of course I thought, I wasn't doing very much at that point. I wasn't with any other drivers, and I thought, so why not? I'll go and do it. And so Alastair and me did 8 World Rallies in 2 years. Now we had a fair bit of success, you know. He was only a very young driver. I think he was only 22 at the time. So car the first year was a Ford Focus. And again, it was a customer car from M Sport, and it was run by ADR, who were very much one of the top rally preparation teams for the Group N cars and stuff in the UK.
Yeah.
And so they ran us on that. And then the second year, we got an opportunity to get an S11 Subaru from ProDrive. And again, we used that. ADR ran that car, and we did 8 World Rallies. I think our best, we finished 7th in Cyprus, maybe, or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And we finished 15th or 16th in Finland and 9th in the Acropolis. And we had a good variety of results, quite good results. And GB, Alastair was the top British drivers who was in Rally GB that year. So not a bad driver, like, but you know, he's only learning the ropes even that time, but not a bad driver. No, we had a very good time. I really enjoyed it, mostly, and it was a great time.
And like for somebody so young to step up to that level, like that was, you know, was huge probably back then. They probably didn't get the credit he deserves, really, you know. So.
Well, you're right. But I was straight on the deep end as well. Like, you know, when you're in them World Rallies, there's nowhere to hide. Like, and
no.
Chris Meek was there, and we at that time, and we cadet or I hope cadet.
Of course I was.
And Guy Wilkes was there, and a wee Suzuki. And it took all our might to stay in front of them boys, like,
yes.
You know, so we were always in and around them, like, but he was a good driver, Al, and me and him had some good times together, and he rallies an escort PDA there now from time to time. Quite an accomplished driver. I'm still in contact with him.
Yes, very good, very good. So then that brought you up to the end of 04, and you said before, like, you were actually sort of like, you had nothing really in the pipeline for 05, and then a certain Fermanagh man come knocking at the door.
Well, it was amazing how that happened, actually. I really felt that in 2005, that was it. No more drives, like, no more call-ups with any drivers or anything. And so I had been doing the Tarmac Championship every year, year in, year out, since 89 or something. And this is up to 2005. And the Galway Rally came and went, and there was no drive, and I really felt that was it. And then out of the blue, Big Neville rang me and says to me, "Did you know Garry Jennings?" And I had heard of Garry, but I didn't really know too much about him. But, well, sorry, I had heard of him, and I knew more about him because he was very fast in the Peugeots and stuff back. Yeah. Gordon was his co-driver back then. So he said to me, would I be interested in going to Circuit Ireland with him? And I said, give me a day or two to think about that, and I'll come back to you. So, of course, I rang Ivan Fisher then, because Ivan was kind of sponsoring Garry at that time, and he was mentoring him a wee bit and getting him going and all. So I rang Ivan says, this boy, as far as I'm concerned, is a good enough driver. He's not the real deal yet, but he will be. So anyway, between one thing and another, me and Garry did the circuit. First rally we did was the circuit together, 6th overall, first in Group N, and a brilliant run. Never put a wheel wrong, like, drove brilliant. And really, that was the beginning of me and him then. That was 05, like. Yeah. And if you think this is 2020, like, we're still doing rallies, like. And tasted a good bit of success along the way, like, and even shortly after that, I combined that with Mark Higgins come on the scene then a wee bit for the British Championship as well. The British Championship didn't kick off until April that year, and the Pirelli Rally was the first round, so it was easy enough to balance up doing the tarmac ones with Garry over here, and doing the British ones with Mark. It was great to get the call up with Mark as well. He and I were friendly for years and years and years, you know, way back to whenever he was starting out in the Manx and all, when me and Bertie were there, and the Bretts and all. Yes. And we're always having the crack and so on, and we'll have to get together and do a rally sometime. So eventually it happened in 05. We linked up, and he and I did the British Championship that year. It was 05 or 06.
That was 06 you won the championship, didn't you? Yeah.
That's right, it was 06, sorry, beg your pardon. And but anyway, sorry, go back to Garry in 05. So we came to the Donegal Rally in 05, and I'll never forget the press conference, and people were saying to me, who's this boy you're with? And who is this boy? And so on. I said, Garry Jennings. No. And anyway, we were called up then at the press conference, you know, and with Garry Jennings and Rory Kennedy here, and we came up and they said, oh, Garry, what rallies have you done? Oh, well, I've done the Peugeot Championship, and I've done the 206s and so on and so forth. And then they said to me, and I says, I've done 2 rallies with Garry already, and I says, I would have no hesitation in getting in with him to go over knock Ala flat out and all this. And the people were at the press conference were thinking, bloody hell, what kind of boy is this? What kind of driver is this? But anyway, he definitely lived up the billing, because 1 Group N, 6th overall, or whatever it was in the rally, in Donegal, and we did the same on the circuit. Sorry, I did the same on the circuit, the Ulster, Jim Clark, and the Manx.
Yeah.
Jim Clark, how do we do the Manx? There's Jim Clark 05 there. And went on to be Group N champions that year.
Yeah.
So it was a fair achievement, like first year.
Yes. Settled in well there.
Right.
So you were saying then, you mentioned Mark Fisher coming on board there. Sorry, Mark Higgins, yeah, for 06 then doing the British Championship rounds and all.
That's right. Garry and me were doing a few rallies. We were doing the Irish Championship again that year in 06. And then I remember I was down at work one day, totally out of the blue. I got a phone call from Mark Higgins. Mark says, doing the British Championship. We're doing it with that first year. We weren't Stobart the first year, I don't think. We were Stobart the first year. I think we were Stobart sponsored the first year or whatever. Anyway, Mark came up with this deal that we were full Stobart sponsored Group N car for the British Championship. It was a Group N championship then.
Yeah.
And would have been interested in going and so on. Of course, I said I would surely jump at the chance. Like, this is a great opportunity, first of all, to rally with Mark, and then with the possibility of doing all the rallies and also being on with the shout to win the championship, British Championship. So we teamed up, went to the Pirelli Rally, and led the rally in 2 punctures on the second day, put us back to third, but we finished second. And then Ryan Champion won the rally, and we were second. I think Gundaf was third. So not a great start, if you like. Close enough, but not close but not close enough. Like.
Yeah.
And then went on. We did after the Pirelli. Where were we then? Jim Clark, maybe.
Right.
Jim Clark.
No, probably would have been Jim Clark. You're right. I get it. Would always been there. Yeah.
Went to Jim Clark. We won there after a titanic battle with Rory Kennedy. We won on the last stage. In fact, we ended up joint time, exactly equal time. But it was fastest time on the last stage won, and we were fastest on the last stage. Rory was distraught, but we were delighted. It was. And then went on. We won the Manx that year as well. No, we didn't win the Manx because it was part of the tarmac and all the work. We won the British Championship section. We didn't win the rally outright. Very good. I think we won the Ulster as well. We beat Gundaf on the Ulster and Guy Wilkes, and went on and around, eventually won the championship together. Fantastic year, incredible first time out. New driver, new car, new team, won the championship. You couldn't ask for better than that.
No, it was good.
I think at that time I may have been the only third ever Irishman to win the British Championship. I think the first time might have been Billy Coleman's co-driver Dan O'Sullivan way back in 74 maybe.
I think it was 74 on the Coleman won the 74, 76, 74.
And then Brian Murphy won it one year then with Austin McHale. And David Higgins won the championship, but Brian Murphy won the co-driver section. Because for some reason, I think David Higgins' co-driver wasn't available for one event or something. So Brian had won it as well. So Brian was Austin McHale's co-driver at the time. And then I won it, and I went on again to win it in 2008 as well. Mark. So brilliant time there, brilliant rallies, and we got, that was 06, we got the deal to come to Donegal with a
how did that all come about then?
Well, how that all came about was, first of all, Mark had driven for Nissan a couple of years ago in the BRC, and John Easton was the team manager of Nissan at that time. They won the championship and so on, and Mark and John Easton were very packed, but John then became team manager for Mitsubishi WRC, and they've been doing all the rallies, world rallies and so on. But in 06, for some reason, they weren't doing all the world rallies, they're only doing some. Andrew Nesbitt was doing the deal to get one of the cars for Donegal, and because they were coming to Donegal anyway, we were able to do a deal that we're able to latch on, if you like, or
piggyback on it nearly.
Piggyback on, but it's not as expensive to take two cars as what. Sorry, it's not double the cost for two cars as it's for one. So we did that, and we got a good few sponsors who helped us out as well, which is brilliant. That made it possible to have them two cars here. So got the opportunity to come and do the rally. It was unbelievable. Hey, it works. You know, 2006 Donegal Rally was the best rally ever, I think.
Yes, I think it was probably definitely the best Donegal, if not the best ever in Ireland.
I think so. And you know, it's general consensus. That's what it was like. So, but when we got, our car wasn't right on the first day. If you remember that, we weren't even in the hunt.
No.
We were back in 10th or 11th at the end of the first leg, like, and all sorts of problems with us. But anyway, when we got her sorted, we went out on Saturday morning, and I think we did 5 fastest times, one after the other. And before very long, we were second, and Andrew was first. Andrew Nesbitt. And then it was punch or punch all the way.
Yeah.
I did a summary of them times recently there, but I just don't have it to hand here. But one stage that stands out for me was Knockalla that year. It was 20k long, and Mark had never seen that stage or competed on that stage ever before the Wednesday of the rally. And we went down and wrote the notes, and we recce'd the stage 3 times, probably 3 times. And come the rally, first one over, fastest time. And that to me was the mark of the man. Like.
Yes, and like Nesbitt always prided himself on Knockalla, like that was.
Exactly.
He always put his marker down in Knockalla, didn't he? Yeah.
Not only him, but all the other boys as well.
Aye. Oh, absolutely.
You know, and for Mark to come there first time and do that, I had great admiration for him for that. And obviously a quality driver, you know, the highest order, and really, you know, that's an outstanding memory I have doing fastest time on Knockalla at that time. Anyway, in the end, we ended up second, and Andrew won, and it was great for the team. 1-2 in Donegal, the 2 works cars, and it was a fairy tale end for them. But we really were looking for first, not second. So that's a fairy tale for us.
But you know, it's often said that, you know, they were proper cars. They weren't like a customer car. They were the real deal as such, weren't they? You know.
All works.
Yes.
All works. Yeah, they were the best you get and the best team, and all the trappings that go along with that.
Yeah.
We did a few rallies with them after that again out foreign. We were in Estonia. We drove for them there as well. As part of Donegal deal, we got that deal as well to go to Estonia and do that rally La Piège or something called it. But we finished 8th there. Well, it was actually a Group N car that we had for it. Like we finished 8th and 2nd in Group N out there. So just the same as Finland. Stages, big wide gravel stages. Incredible rally, unbelievable rally.
Yeah.
So anyway, me and Mark had some brilliant rallies, some great success. Like he's a top driver and still is. And he actually went on now. He's currently a stunt driver in the James Bond movies.
Oh yes,
And if you see them Aston Martins in the James Bond movies, and you see the baddie chasing James Bond, well, Mark's normally the baddie. He's normally driving that car, so he is like. So fair play to him. He's he's had a very wide and varied career, like, and
he's still making a living out of driving, you know, which is.
Well, he's made the most of it, and he's gotten on there, and that's brilliant for him. I think it's
absolutely.
I remember going to see the James Bond film. What was it called? Not the last one, the previous one. And we're in the cinema, and we're watching all the credits coming in. We sat there until nobody left in the cinema, waiting to see his name. Well, it was the last name, Mark Higgins. Quantum of Solace.
Oh, right, yes. Keep the best for last.
That's right. That was the way that was. So,
and then 07, you were back with them again, then Group N Championship again that year, but also Donegal once again. And the World Champions come visiting.
Donegal 07, hey. That was another one. That was another one. That's right.
Yes, boy.
There's a good lot of her doing the rounds today, I think.
Yes.
But we did Donegal 07 anyway. Loeb, ourselves, Donnelly and them all. But from the off, from the start, we were on it. We were rigging on it right from the start. And I think at the end of the first day, Kevin, we were leading by, was it 37 seconds?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it was remarkable. On the first day, we had 5 fastest times out of 6.
Yeah.
And Loeb won the last stage of the day by 1 second. That was what out in Glenmacquin, out that country.
Yeah.
Stage we haven't used, I don't think we've used it ever since. Like. But anyway, Loeb was fastest on that last stage. And we went away home thinking, what the frig, is this the shape of things? What are going to come the next day? The first stage on Saturday morning was Fannet Head, or Kintrum Lake, Fannet Head. And we started, and half a K into the stage, come over a crest into a square right, and there's a overshoot road straight in front of you. It was wet, and we came in there, full attack, full charge, couldn't get stopped to get into the corner, straight up the escape road and reverse back, and away we went. And I think Loeb took 16 seconds off on the first stage.
Yeah.
And on the second stage, which was Knock Alley here, and that jump there, when we landed off that jump there, we broke the front wheel and the front damper on the right-hand side. And when we broke the wheel, it punctured the tire as well.
Right.
So we had to drive 2 or 3 miles down to the stage. And I think he took another 16 or 17 seconds off us, or 15 or 16. So it was 37-second advantage that we had, very quickly evaporated Saturday morning. And it didn't take long.
But even still today, 15 or 16, if you had to limp out the last sort of 2 miles, you must have been on it up to that point as well. Really?
No doubt about it. Kim, we're full of pipe. And Mark's professional, but as good a driver as you can get. Mark Higgins, like, don't forget, like, he was right up there in the 4 team racing with McRae and Saints and them. Like,
yes.
You know, Mark's an exceptional driver. Like, and you know, you travel a long way to get as good a driver anywhere.
Yes.
And he was in big demand there. You know, all his rally career. But there's no doubt about it. We were going as hard as we could, and we're really, really pushing. Like, and the fact that I think really we were fast to begin, but Loeb wasn't at his full speed to begin.
Yes.
So he got progressively faster, and we were still at the same speed, and then he was able to nudge on ahead of us. Like, but like, sure, you're driving. What is he? 9-time world champion now. He must have been 5 or 6 or 7 times world champion at that point. You know? So that's who you're competing against, and of course, the full Citroen Works team as well. And we've been run by Derek McGarty, and no disrespect to Derek or anything. No. Small models team, like, compared to the Works team. But anyway.
But it must have give you immense pride to see a world champion and the world champion team, you know, in your hometown competing on your home rally too. Like.
Yeah, I remember coming down to work on the Wednesday before the rally one morning. I was driving down to work about 8:15 in the morning, and who did I meet driving up the road coming towards me in the recce car with Loeb and Daniel Lena? Like, yeah, they were coming up the road.
Yes.
I noticed the recce car coming,
yes.
About a mile away, and here there was Loeb and Daniel Lena driving up past Donegal Creamery.
Definitely one of them surreal ones, isn't it?
Almost surreal, like, you know. It reminds me too of a time, actually, as we have a tangent. Mark and me were doing Rally GB in 2008, and we had the Vodka Cake World Rally Car, or Ford Focus World Rally Car, and Valentino Rossi was doing the rally as well.
Yes.
And we were out wrecking anyway, and Rossi was out wrecking, and we're always together because he was in that Focus too. I think it's and we pull up at the filling station. We're filling up our cars and having the crack, and the people were all walking past, and this is Valentino Rossi.
Yes.
And this car up at the filling station, went in and buying a bag of crisps and a bottle of water. People didn't even know, like, and there he was there.
Yes.
I'm like, he is such an unbelievable superstar. And here he was in among people, and on a normal random day, people wandering around, and Rossi in among them, and didn't even know, like.
And he probably loved that too. You know, him being just one of the people. You know, he was
there, just one of them. Like, you know.
Yes.
Oh, he's a funny boy. I remember. Well, we got to know. Well, Mark knows him anyway because he competes in Bologna quite a lot. You know, the rally sprint in Bologna. Rossi does that every year. So Mark won that 1 or 2 times racing Rossi, so he knows him quite well. It was great to be in their company and having the crack. And I was blown away by why he would be there filling his car full of petrol. Just wandering around.
Yes, and he's a global superstar, like, you know.
That's right. But anyway, that was the way. That was that, Kevin. And sort of after we hit, Mark went his own way with Mark Higgins went his own way and he moved on to, I think he rallied out for, and a good lot then. He went to China and did a bit there. And all the time, me and Garry were still doing rallies in between.
Yes.
And then Ali Fisher and me did the British Championship in 2009. And I did the British Championship with Ali and the Irish Championship with Garry at the same time. So it was from one to the other, and sometimes racing against each other sometimes. So it was. But me and Ali had a great year. I think we finished, we either were second overall in the British Championship or third.
Right.
Brilliant year. So it was. And that was in the Group N car run by Jerry McGarty. Very good car as well, and very reliable. And we had some brilliant events. It was great for me personally to be rallying with Fisher again. And all the old contacts, and obviously we were still in contact. But I mean, back in the team and Fisher Kennedy and the one that's like,
special moment.
Special moment is right. Something you cherish as well. Like, it was great to help out. It was great to help out at the start. Like,
I was just looking through your results there, and then I just noticed in the harvest in 09, yourself and Nigel, your son, done the rally together. Was that a nice moment too as well?
Good moment too. Nigel did the rally in Joe McGonigal's wee Honda Civic.
Ah, yes.
We're going to buy it, or we're going to rent it, or we're going to do. We said we're taking the rally and decide afterwards. So we had to get out and run the rally. We're going quite well. Going quite well, but we bounced off the road and had an encounter with a telegraph pole. But we managed to get away with it, but we got a puncture and had to stop and change it. So we did all that, and we got to the end of we started the last stage, and about 1 mile from the end of the last stage, a front wishbone broke, or a ball joint broke, and the whole front suspension collapsed. And we tried to fix it on the side of the road, and we would have got it done eventually, but sure, the road closed car came, or road open car came. So we're OTL, and that was the end of that. Like,
yes.
But I realised that day, I don't mind co-driving, but I'm not just a good co-driver with my own son.
Right.
So any other time he rallied, we always got Patrick Bryce or Niall Burns or something like that to go drive.
Yes.
But he's a good driver, and he was a good driver. He had cut his teeth in the Hadou as well, with the rally
all track and all that kind of thing.
He Novas and Suzuki's like. But anyway, he emigrated to America about, I don't know, many years ago. And that was the end of his rally career.
Yeah. That's expensive.
That's right. That's right.
Then in 2011, back to Donegal once again with Alastair in the Fiesta F2000. Like, that was, this new fantastic, this car was going to be the next big thing, wasn't it?
Well, that car, that was the M Sport Super 2000 that Mick O'Hagan won Monte Carlo in that same year.
Yes.
So we got it for Donegal, and when the deal came and it became available for Donegal, and there was a good bit of debate about what car would have for Donegal. Would it be the Fiesta, or would it be a Focus? But we felt with Ali's experience, and instead of dropping him into the deep end on a full chat WRC Focus, the best way would be the Super 2000, and it was the right decision. He was more at home and more comfortable with it anyway, and the expectation wasn't as great, even though we secretly thought, well, I thought we could win with a shoot, like. And as you know, we were right in contention that rally from the very start. Like. We had a fair idea we could win. We were capable of doing it, and one stage we were relying on was a brand new stage in Donegal. It's out near Kilmacrennan. It's called the Trenta stage, but it's really narrow and tricky, and that a section in it that was very, very difficult. But we knew this was our stage. Like, this was the stage that this car would work on. Tim McNulty was the main opposition on that rally.
Yes. And
we knew that the Subaru wouldn't be ideal, but the Super 2000 would have been ideal for this road. So we worked away on this, but anyway, the local farmer decided the rally wasn't going down the frigging road. And he blocked the road, and the stage was shortened to 2 mile or 3 mile or something. And we never got doing the stage that we needed. And as it turned out, Tim won the rally and ended up by 30 seconds or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't a ransom. No. And he got 12 of them seconds on one stage, and another 12 the second time around the same stage.
Like for the big curves, obviously.
And we figured if we had had a narrower stage, we could have taken all that back, maybe.
Yeah.
Who's to know? Like, I feel a wee bit. It's one that got away. If we didn't just get our full potential simply because that cancellation at stage. I'm not making excuses. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, fair play to Tommy won the rally, and we've no argument with that. Like.
And Alastair was only 23, 24 at that stage, probably. That was phenomenal performance at that age to be, at the sharp end and doing that. Like, amazing, isn't it? Really?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And a fair bit of pressure, like full M Sport team again. And don't forget that Alastair carries the burden of the Fisher name with them all the time. Like, I say that. I don't say that unfondly. I mean, when I say the Fisher name, like, people look at Ali and they think Bertie and Mark and you know, and that's, you know, you have to deal with that as well. Like, that's not an easy thing to deal with, you know. And as you say, he was only 22 or 23 at the time, but he coped admirably and he drove very well, exceptionally good driver. And as you've seen for, I don't know, many years now, in more recent times, he went to the WRC, the junior WRC, and he was right there, sir. He was racing Elfin and Craig Breen all the way, beating them on lots of occasions, like, you know. But he just, the Ken Alley is very pragmatic. He had a job, you know, he was very dedicated to his work, and then he got married, and now he's a family. So his focus is a bit different than what it would have been.
Yes.
You know, and he's not as, if you like, he's dedicated. Don't get me wrong, but his profession and his family probably come first.
It's not that single-minded focus that these other guys have. They want to be a world rally driver and nothing else matters nearly almost, isn't it? You know?
Well, you're probably right, Kevin, in saying that, but like Ali wanted to be a top driver too, like, but he realised there's other things in life as well that you had to focus on. Like, probably more important, really.
Exactly, yeah. Then in 2015, wasn't it, you won Donegal again with Garry?
I was team manager with him for a couple of years.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Because I'll just go back a wee bit, I think. In 2012, Mark Higgins and me were to do the rally in the Mini, if you remember.
Yes.
Well, the Mini had only come out at that stage. And Chris Meek was driving the WRC, and Derek McGarty got a Mini anyway, and we were to have this Mini for Donegal. And it was all moving along very nicely. And a month before the rally, I fell off my bike.
Yes.
And fully small as I am, and out like me out in the bike. Anyway, I fell off my bike and ended up in hospital, where I spent almost, well, not quite a week, but 5 days. And I destroyed my shoulder and quite a few other lacerations and stuff. And I was in very bad shape because my shoulder was completely dropped down. I'd broken an AC joint in my shoulder, and virtually I had to get my shoulder reconstructed, if you like. So when that happened, I remember lying in casualty and the doctor coming over and looking at me and me saying to him, I have a Donegal Rally in 3 weeks, sir. Am I going to be okay? And he was looking down. I was on one of them boards, lying on a board, you know, with your head on a brace. And the doctor looked down at me and he was going, we don't know rally in 3 weeks, sir. And I said, you know what? I have intentions of doing it. But anyway, of course I couldn't do the rally. Even 3 weeks or 4 or 5 weeks later, I still couldn't do the rally. And couldn't do it anyway. So I ended up getting a team manager with Garry and Mark's Mini and all that. It was kind of shelved, you know. We're depending on a few things to happen to make it happen. But once this happened to me, I sort of realised I couldn't do it anyway. And
the steam ran out.
Steam ran out of it, and it didn't happen. Just anyway, I was team manager with Garry that year, and he won the freaking rally.
Yeah, that's right.
12, he won in 12, wasn't it?
Yep.
Sam Moffat won 13.
Yep. Declan and Brian 14. Yourself in 15.
That's it. I need to remember. I can only remember the years by who won them. So anyway, Garry won then. Brilliant. You know, we came there with that car from Melvin Evans. Neil Doherty was co-driver. Ian Hurd was we're all running the team and involved in it. And I think it was a great win for him, you know, because
the 14 was such
to win that rally, you know.
And even the 14, nobody rated the S14. The S12B was the ultimate Irish tarmac car, and the 14 was never going to be comparable, you know. And it was almost discounted before he started, wasn't it? You know. So.
That's right. That's right. And you know, he made her work. Like, he took the best out of her. And
yeah, right from stage one.
Right from the very beginning. That's the kind of guy. He's very, very adaptable. You know, no matter what you do, put him into a Scania there, left-hand drive, right-hand drive, away he goes. Like, you know, put him into a Group N car, put him into front-wheel drive, World Rally car, Group A car. He can do it. Like, he'll squeeze the guts out of her. Like,
yes,
you know, he can definitely. He's a scruff of the neck type driver, and he's, you know, people think he's a bit crazy sometimes. Maybe saying that. You see when he gets in and the light goes green at the start of the stage. Yeah. Nobody better on his day. There's nobody better, like when he wants to be.
Yeah.
You know? So it is. And I've been sitting on him from 05, and you know, we've done a lot of stages, and we've had won a few rallies along the way, and we've had a few accidents along the way. But nevertheless, I had no hesitation getting him anywhere. Yeah. And I feel I just do my job, he does his, and we just have very good rapport. You know, it works very well in the car. Like. So
yeah. Not
easy getting that between the driver.
No, that you know, that sort of something that
That
works.
works really good. Like,
Yes. So we'll skip forward here to 15 then, to win that rally. 20 years since you last won it, obviously with Bertie. Was that a nice feeling to roll over the ramp again that Sunday?
yeah. Well, I would have to say, I was doing a podcast, as you know, the other night there for Stage by Stage with Trevor Agnew and Gordon Noble and Ali Fisher. And I was asked what was my proudest moment in my rally career.
Right, yes.
And, you know, if I look back, Kevin, I have a white lot of proud moments. Like, I mean, one on the Circuit Ireland, like in 95, like, I mean, I said to you before, everybody knows the Circuit Ireland. Your granny knows about the Circuit Ireland. Everybody knows. It's one of them iconic events. Even people call it the Rothmans Rally.
Yes.
You know, it's an iconic event and everybody knows about it and so on. And to win it, and I remember going to Circuit Ireland as a cub, standing down in Glen Village watching the rally going through when I was 14 or 15. Like, you know, all these things come rushing back when you want a rally like that. Like, you know, all of what you thought, and from that moment to the moment you won it is incredible. But the proudest moment ever I had in winning a rally, or the proudest moment ever I had, was winning Donegal 15. For a very obvious reason, that the trophy's named after my father, the Jim Kennedy Perpetual Trophy. Like, so that is, you know, personally, or for me, it's a very poignant moment for my family. My mother was alive at the time, and the rest of my brothers and sisters, everybody was there. And for us, that was a special moment. Like, it's very difficult to describe that in terms of what it really means. But I mean, if you can just picture, like, my father, I've co-drove for my father when I was a cub, like 14 or 15, and you know, he was who got me started into rallying and so on. And then he got involved in the organisation and the sponsorship of the rally, and I went on to be a co-driver, and I got to the top of the Irish rallies, and I got to win Donegal 3 times in the 90s when he was alive, and also to come back in 2015 when I thought, after 06 and even 07, I thought I'd never have another chance to win that rally. Like, so I'm eternally grateful to Garry, first of all, to be his co-driver and to be asked to be his co-driver. I'm eternally grateful for that, and for him as well, to get the opportunity for me and him to win it together, because that was a special bond as well. Like, and no matter what you say to any driver around the country, Donegal is the one to win. Like, you know, and it's a special rally. And for me, I go back to the very beginning of it, near almost, like, and to win it, to be privileged enough to win it 4 times, in particular 15, was proudest moment, if you like.
Yeah, to be handed that trophy with your father's name on it, like, that's pretty special, isn't it? You know, so.
Well, when all the, surprisingly enough, not many people know this, but when all the celebration was going on at the Mount Errigal at the finish ramp and everything else, and my son and me, he had my car sitting across the road. We jumped. It was still going on to me, and I went over and jumped in the car, and away we went. And went out to the cemetery, out to Common Graveyard, and to the headstone, all with the trophy and a couple of photographs, and you know, the wreath for winning the rally, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, like I say, special moment, very personal. I don't normally talk about these things, like, but I'm just reflecting on it now. It was a special moment, and especially for my mother as well. She was alive at the time, and you know, what can I say? You know,
money can't buy them kind of things, can it? You know,
no,
so
definitely not. No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And there's a smile on my face for about a week afterwards as well. Like,
can only imagine, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Because like I say, you won the circuit, and you won Killarney, and you won Cork, and you won Ulster, and you won out in France, or you won out in China. You come home and win your home rally with your own people all around you. Like, that's the one.
You're standing up in that bonnet looking around, and it's your own people there all standing looking at you. You know? Just, you know, we'll just go out a bit left field here. Niall McShea, come on board then as well. You're away in China. What is rallying like in China?
Well, rallying in China, what they do, the rallies in China, you know, they take the footprint of a WRC event, and they bring that over, and they run their rallies exactly the same, except most of the rallies were 2-day as opposed to 3-day. And they just use the same format. The organisation, everything is the same. And that's why foreign drivers can go there and can communicate, because essentially it's the same model as any rally. Right. You know, obviously it's a communication problem, but surprisingly enough, you can work that. And anyway, I'll go back to how it all began, how we came there. Of course, I know Niall. Niall's world championship driver. Like, I mean, Niall's production cup world champion. And what year was that?
Oh, now you're asking me 04 was it?
And totally against the odds.
Yes.
Totally against the odds. He went there and won that day. And that was there's not much chat about that really. You know. He went and did that.
Yes.
And that was it was unbelievable what he did back at that time. Like. And to get there, because he was on a top and safety budget all the way, like.
Yes.
You know. But anyway, Niall said to me one time, if you'd be available, that would be, you know, he's going to China, I need you to go there. And not everybody can go, Kevin, like that.
No.
It's a week away. It's a week away every time.
Yes.
And it's like China's a different culture than any other country that ever I've been to. And it's not for everybody. You might think, we go there once, you might say, you know what? No. It's a 12-hour flight. It's a 12-hour flight either way.
Yes.
And when you get there, the culture is completely different than anything you've experienced before.
Yes.
The people there.
Sorry, just looking up there, 2004 was the year he won the junior, or the PWRC. Sorry.
But I mean, the people in China were the nicest people you could ever. They're lovely people, like incredibly modest and incredibly inquisitive about the rally and about where you come from and taking photographs of you. And the people were unbelievable. And like our team was, we drove for Skoda in China, works team like, and team's very well organized. 4 cars in the team, 4 proper cars, like. 4 proper cars and 3 proper drivers. They always had a guest driver from whatever region the rally was in.
Right.
They would always have a guest driver. Like. So, and then there was us. There was a very good Chinese driver, and there was another driver who was a pay driver, was on all the rallies, and then a guest driver. And huge big motorhomes and full treatment. I'm telling you, Hyundai wouldn't be as, it would be bigger than what Hyundai had in the world. Our whole corporate thing.
Yes.
Service there. But anyway, we got the opportunity to do the rally. We went there. Team were quite good. Our interpreter was very good and kept us right on every aspect we needed to know. But our car gives a lot of trouble. And on the first rally, we were 3rd, and we really should have been 2nd. Mark Higgins won the rally. Chris Atkinson was 2nd. Remember Chris? Oh yes. He was 2nd. We were 3rd. And Alastair McShea was 4th. And one of the Chinese drivers was 5th, and our teammate was 6th. So not bad start. It was all there. It was all about the manufacturer's title. Like we couldn't score points in the championship as drivers and co-drivers, but we could only score points for manufacturer.
Oh, so the locals would like to score championship points for the drivers.
Exactly. Chinese championship for the Chinese drivers.
Right. Yes.
The manufacturer was open, like. So that's why that's why we were there. We were the international drivers employed to come and win the rally for them, like, or finish top anyway.
Yeah.
So Mark was there with Darren Garrett, another co-driver, a fellow I know very well from Wales. Alastair McShea was there with Gordon. Gordon Noble was there for a few rallies, and then Stuart Loudon came along and shared a few rallies. And then we had Chris Atkinson and Dale Moscott. They were from Australia, people we know as well from the World Rallies. So it was a great old group and great bunch, like.
Yes.
And we did a few rallies, and our car let us down a lot. We did one rally in the Gobi Desert. I'm sure you heard of the Gobi Desert.
Yes.
Right out through the stages, 40 degrees, out into the wilderness, like. And we were flat out through the stage, and I'll never forget it. Flat out through the stage, and Niall said something to me about something's wrong or something's not right, and the car just got slower and slower and slower. Finally stopped or ceased or some freaking thing happened to the engine. Jumped out and I checked it, and whatever was wrong, we couldn't fix it. It was 40 degrees, and you could, no matter how far you could see nothing. Desert. And there was all these wee sand dunes, like, and the next thing, out of the blue, this boy come out, or this fella come down over the sand dune and come down and looked at us. Obviously we couldn't communicate with him, but he called us up and said, come with me, and we followed him up, turned around, went up, and I'm like, here was these 4 nomads, or they weren't shepherds, like, but there were people who made a living in the desert doing whatever they did.
Yes.
And they were sitting under this big umbrella, and they brought us up under the umbrella. It was 40 degrees, sun was melting down, and they had these big watermelons, and they cut them and gave us the watermelons.
Yes.
And here we were sitting on top of this, I looked at Niall. Jeez, I hadn't quite banked on this, but we sat there for hours before the team arranged somebody to come and get us. Like.
Uh-huh.
I was out in the wilderness in the middle of the desert.
Uh-huh.
I have photographs. I must show you them sometime. Like.
Yes, but isn't that amazing out in the middle of the desert? You're so lucky. The Gobi Desert just been so lucky then. Yeah. The luck of the Irish, as they say. Yeah.
Well, it's like I say, the people were very nice out there.
Uh-huh.
The normal Chinese people were very modest people, like lovely people, and it was nice to experience that culture and go and compete on a works team and with a proper driver, like excellent driver.
Yes, and Niall again has gone on to star, maybe not star, but he's sort of driving these cars in a lot of films and.
He does a lot of stuff. Right? He does Top Gear. He does Top Gear, and he worked a lot with Matt LeBlanc and those boys in Top Gear, and he also did Mission Impossible.
Oh, yep. Tom Cruise and all that as well.
And he's done quite a bit. Like, I mean, he's a proper stunt driver now in them movies. Like, I always used to say to him, "It suit him well being a stunt driver because that's the way." That's the kind of rally driver he was. He was a hooligan in the rally car too.
Yeah, and isn't there some Japanese film or a Chinese film that there's it's based around a rally? And he told the story of he's actually getting paid now to crash cars,
That's right. He also did a Top Gear for China, China Top Gear, because there's Top Gears in different countries. And
right, yes.
We did a Top Gear out in China that one of these skateboarders, or not quite skateboarders, things like that. This champion skateboarder from China was going to race him down, I don't know, many kilometers was down a mountain. Where Niall would go on the Skoda rally car and your mum would go on the skateboard.
Right.
I think I'm not quite sure if they weren't side by side anyway. But maybe your man was on a different route and now they were both on two different roads anyway.
Yes.
But it was a race to the bottom, like, and he made there's a whole movie about that.
Right.
You can see it on YouTube there sometimes.
Oh, cool. Let's look it up like something.
Oh, he did some incredible stuff. A great fella to be with, and very competitive and deadly driver. And great mechanic. No matter what happened to that car, he could nearly fix it himself.
Yeah.
I used to say to the team manager out there, he was the best mechanic we had in the whole team. There was about 20 mechanics for the 4 cars, and Niall, I would say, was the best mechanic of the whole lot of them.
And were they all Chinese nationals then that was working on the cars and all them too, or did they have?
For the first one rally we had, and we realised some of these boys, they were good mechanics. You tell them to do something, they could do it, but you need to show them how to do it. Like.
Yeah. So
anyway, after the first rally, Niall says this has to improve, and he insisted on bringing Keith Rainey out. Keith.
Yes.
He runs quite a few rally cars as well.
Yeah.
He run Gary's car one time. I think he looks after mainly Stephen Wright.
Right. No. Yes.
And Joe Gallagher, another fellow from Strabane rallies there, looks after his car. Well, Keith came out then, and Keith's professional engineer really and knows what he's about, and he educated the Chinese mechanics, showed them how to do it. We'd go on a Sunday, we'd be out there on Monday, we'd go to the service park on Tuesday, and Keith would work with the mechanics then and organise them, show them things and how to do things and all.
Sort of get into a system of what needs done and how to do it.
How to do it. Well, you see, in most teams, there's a man in every corner, a mechanic in every corner, and that's their responsibility. So he allocated them all a corner each, and he told them what they needed to do and how to bleed the brakes and so on and so forth. All the basics, like just to straighten them up a wee bit. Like then we had them jumping them. They were excellent. So Keith came to quite a few rallies. He came to all the rallies actually. Me and him used to travel a lot together because Niall would either go out early and stay on longer because he made some of them programs he was working on.
Yes. Very good. And sort of then coming up a bit closer to the present day, like 2018. Obviously, with the World Car's not really been welcome here in a lot of events. You decided to spread your wing yourself and Garry, and you just went to France. How did that come about, or why?
Well, again, first of all, we were in Galway in 18. That was the year we were there. Craig Green was there, Ali, the Moffats, Stephen Wright.
Robert
Barb, and so on. Was there 30 R5 cars or something? Was that year? Something like that, something unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we were there in our yoke, and everybody was predicting Jennings 6th or Jennings 7th. And even though our yoke's as 2006. Like, it's still a very potent machine.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember right, we were fastest in the first stage,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second stage was a different characteristic with no junctions. The R5 cars beat us on the next stage, and then the third stage we were fastest again. So it was nip and tuck all the way.
Yeah.
And on the second last stage, we just spun. You might have seen that on YouTube. We spun around, and we got stuck in the shock a wee bit, and we're revving her and we're abusing her to get her out of the shock. And I said, "Okay, forget about it." Once we dropped 5 seconds, Kim, that was it. You know, if you drop 5 seconds, both Breen and Ali and maybe the Moffats leapfrog you.
That's that. You go from first to fifth.
There's only one stage left. And what was the point of abusing the car, trying to get it out of the shock to go and finish 10th or 12th place? Like,
yeah, maybe blow a clutch or something else. Yep.
Exactly. Well, it became apparent to us after that rally. You know, as I say, I've been doing championships all my life: Irish championships, British championships, border championships, forestry championships, all my life. And then to be competing but not be in the championship, so it's a funny feeling. Like, and you know, it's a feeling that makes you feel that you're not really part of it. Like, you know, TV coverage and press coverage and all that sort of thing. And it's a shame it's come to that, but that's where we are. No argument. That's where we are. So we didn't do any more rallies up until Cavan, I think, after that. And we went to Cavan rally, and I think we had trouble with the car again. Finished second, maybe, or if we finished the 12th. Then we went to Donegal after that. And what happened to Donegal? We had a bad rally.
You know, you were nip and tuck with Manastor up to the midday on Saturday, then wasn't that 18 that you put her in the roof then?
Well, that must have been 18. Was the 18? It was 18. You're right.
Yeah.
We beat ourselves. We pushed too hard in a particular place and beat ourselves. Very good battle with Manastor. Great bit of crack as well. You know, the two boys, same cars and the pile R5 cars snapping at our heels. Like, great rally, well enjoyable. But anyway, I'll not go into it any more than that. We beat ourselves anyway. That Manastor off the hook, and the boys disappeared into the distance and won their third rally in a row. Fair play to them, good luck. I don't begrudge it 1 second. It was our own downfall, or we've beaten ourselves. So after that rally, really, the crowd in France had been on to me a few times about coming out to the rally the previous year. And they're very persistent now. And we come back on again, and they said, we want you to come to the rally, we'll offer you a deal, and so on and so forth. So anyway, we go back to where we felt we weren't part of the championship doing the rallies, couldn't even do the Ulster, not really, you know. And going to Cork for what reason, like, you know. So we decided we'd do something different, and we'd take them up on their offer, and decided we'd go to France. The rallies in northern France anyway. You went Dublin, Holyhead, drove down to Dover across to Kelly, and an hour and a half down to Bethune where the rally was. We got a great reception. We arrived at the rally, great reception. There's quite a few English and Belgian, or English and Welsh drivers go to that rally as well.
Right, yes.
It was very convenient for them, you know, same as it is.
Yeah, it's probably easy for them to get to here.
So anyway, quite a few. There's a fellow there, what do you call him, Steve Hendy and all. Do you know Steve Hendy? He was there, and another boy, Peter Taylor, up from Newcastle, and John Cope.
Oh yeah. And
France,
yeah.
And then of course they had Stefan Lefebvre, who drives Chris Meek in the World Championship. He had a Citroen, what do you call it? Citroen Zara.
Right. Yes.
The old Zara, the old one, like.
Yes.
Oh, we're a rally car, but the older one. He had that, and those 2 or 3 other French and Belgian drivers. We were kind of looking at us boys and thinking, we'll show these boys. But anyway, Lefebvre went out on the second stage. He was leading. He went out in the second stage, and us and Peter Taylor were nip and tuck. We got on to lead then, and a stage later, something happened to Peter Taylor, and he retired. And really, we had a bit of opposition from a couple of French drivers, but we kept the hammer down and we disappeared into the distance. Won the rally. Great celebration. A lovely rally, lovely place where we were. The organisers were very helpful towards us, and the crowds really took to Garry, like, because he can sliding around the corners, and you know, very TV interviews, and you know, dealing with the press and all. They all took to him very well. And the rally was based in the middle of the city of Bethune. There's a big square in the middle of the city, which is Park Fermi, and the service area was in the streets around that. So it was all in the middle of the city, the whole thing, like. it was a great rally. Really enjoyed it. I must say, nice to, when you go way forward like that, it's nice to win no matter what. Like,
Yes.
You're flying the flag for Irish Rally, and really, like,
It shows how
you're going out
competitive.
there. You're going out there and you're beating the locals. They're like a French boy coming here beating us.
Yes. It shows how competitive Irish Rallying is. Never our drivers is able to go and compete at that level, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So,
it's important to point. It's important to do that, and we feel we did. We did Irish Rally and proud of doing that. We took a lot more from that than we would have done going to do an Irish Rally project.
Yes, I are going and won around the Triton Shares Championship here.
No disrespect to that.
No, absolutely not.
So then, of course, we're on the high after winning. The organisers for the next rally, the Charlemagne Rally, which is over on the Belgian border, they came to us that night in France, and they said, "You must come to our rally. We have a deal. We will do this. We'll do that." So we said, "Look, give us a day or two to think about it." We didn't commit to it right away. But Garry was leaving the car out in France anyway, because believe it or not, the team, our engineer comes from that rally team.
Right.
He comes to Donegal every year from that rally team. And he's, so we said we'd leave the car out there because they were going to do a wee bit of work on it. And we're going to let the team manager deal with the rally to see if they can get us a deal to come back. Of course, and long story short, another deal was arranged, all the boys back out to France again. This was even a more competitive rally than the last one. More difficult rally. The stages were a bit more trickier, more like at home, really.
Yes.
Anyway, led from the start again and kept it up, and nobody got near us. And I must say, Garry was driving at his best. He was driving at Donegal. He was driving very well with that great battle with Manus. Carried that to France as well.
Yeah.
And it was that sort of performance. It was a bit like going back to what I said earlier. Me and him have a great rapport, and I know when he's on it, when he's focused and he's concentrating. When we were out in France that time, particularly for the second rally, which was only 3 or 4 weeks after the previous rally. It was right up to speed,
Yeah.
And he went into that rally and drove brilliantly and won it, like, so fair play. And again, great celebration and going out there, carrying the flag for Irish Rally and won the rally, did everybody proud, and it was really very pleasing, or very, very satisfying.
Yeah. And then sorry, we'll just maybe touch on last year. We were fortunate enough then to sit with Manus for a couple of events last year, and then we all know how Donegal finished. How did you and Manus click together when you sat with him playing a couple of events?
Yeah, well, first of all, I knew Manus quite well. Like, we had business interest here, and we had a lot of crossover with that. I knew him from the rallying, obviously. Believe it or not, we were on holidays together one time. We went to the same place at the same time, families and all, and had a bit of crack when we were out there as well. And knew him quite well and was getting to know him more and more all the time. So when Donald Barrett couldn't do the rally, where could that go? Oh, Easter Stages in 2019. Manus got on to me and said, "Would you be available to go, or would you go if Garry wasn't going?" So of course Garry wasn't going, back to the eligibility of the car. He wasn't going. So I said, "Right, Manus, we'll go and do it." So off we went, and he hadn't written the pace notes before, and these things are second nature to me, but we went and we decided, we did a bit of practice before we went to the rally, and we decided we were going to make our own notes on the rally. And the Easter Stages rally, the nature of the rally, was only 4 or 5 stages in the whole rally anyway, done twice. And they were only very short stages, 5 and 6 mile, the most of them. So it was a simple enough wee rally to start with, Gavin, if you know what I mean. So we made the notes, did the recce, made the notes, and went and did the rally. And it was a good dry rally, nice weather and all, good and consistent. And with the hard tires on, the Pirelli hard tires on. And we had a good account of ourselves, some very good times. And by and large, we built up, and he felt after the rally was over, he had made a good step forward. Because as he said himself, Manus always said to me, and I'm sure he said to other people, that driving this R5 was like serving an apprenticeship. It was something they had to do and work at. And he knew he wasn't going to get there overnight, but it was something he had to continuously work at and put big effort in and think a lot about what he was doing to try and get to the level of speed where the Moffats were at, where Craig Breen was at, where Ali was at, So that was his goal, to get to there, but he realized he couldn't do that in one step. He had to work on it. So that was the first step, if you like, Kevin, doing that rally.
Yes.
And getting, making a bit of progress. Then, turns out then Donald wasn't available for Killarney Rally of the Lakes. So we got the nod for that as well. Went down there. It's a very difficult rally, pace wise and all.
Yeah.
But we did a very good recce. I must say, Manus really put a big, once he went to it, he put a big effort in. Like he left nothing to chance. Like we really did a good recce. Went to the rally, and the pace was shit hot in Killarney. And he had done Killarney the previous year and won it in the World Car.
Yes.
And he'd only been there once before that as well. But Boys have been there 10 times. And the pace was shit hot. And we were we were on the tail end, 7th, 8th or 9th maybe, banging away, but getting faster all the time and getting going all the time. And then towards the end, we slide off the road and had a freaking beam burst the radio.
Right.
Meant the rally was over for us. Like. But so what's that? Anyway, come Donegal time. Don was back on with Manus. And I think if you look back in that rally, Kevin, Manus was in second place on Sunday morning. In R5.
Yep.
Isn't that right?
And
I'll never forget him on that. There's an interview on some of them YouTubes there of him.
Killian.
Sunday morning, Killian was. He said to Killian, today's going to be a massive day. That's a very
yes.
Because he was chasing down whoever was in front. I'm not really sure. I can't quite remember who was there.
Yeah, like well,
Divine was in the World Rally Car.
No, Sam was leading, then bringing the 2 World Cars. Then Divine was probably with Josh been in front of him. Maybe he was third, was he? Or was Josh behind him? But anyway, yeah, like he was.
I think there.
You might be right, actually. Yeah.
So I'm going back to serving the apprenticeship and where he was and how he's going along with. But come Donegal time, the thing went up and he went up this day.
Yes.
But Manus is a very good driver. Right? He's very good, and he thought about everything he did. And I mean, when you read the pace notes, every note was a reaction from him. And I never, at any point in the rallies that we did together, that I think we're ever going to go off the road, was ever concerned for my own welfare. He was fully in control all the time, and I would have had to say he was a good, safe driver. Like, but what happened, Kevin? What happened then that day? I was, no matter what, like it's a year later now, almost. We're still chatting about it and what happened. And the only way I can summarize it is it was a complete freak accident.
Just one of those.
There was hardly ever an accident at that spot. In fact, there never really was an accident of any note at that spot in the history of the Donegal Rally, going either direction. We do that stage both ways. There was never ever. I know Christopher Boyce had a wee moment there one time in a Civic and hit that wall there, but it wasn't a significant accident. Christopher had. And if you think back all them years that we've rallied that road, there's not even a spectator there.
No.
Wasn't even a spectator at that point. Like.
No.
And for that to happen at that point where there was never any history of anything happening before, different if it was a bad spot where everybody was off there, some sort of thing.
That's
for that to happen there, and Manus to be driving that car is virtually a brand new car. All the modern safety equipment in that car.
The latest spec.
The latest car. That car was a factory car built by Hyundai. And them cars are rallied all over the world. The highest level, the best drivers you can get.
Yes. And
for Manus to go off the road in the nature that he did, and with such devastating consequences, I still can't cope. Like Donald told me, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying it now. I'm sure Donald said it was an ordinary enough accident. I dare say that. Like it wasn't a huge, big, violent accident. Like you see loads of times. Like he said, it was kind of ordinary enough. No wild, big drama. He said. And when it finished, he hurt his shoulder. Don't get me wrong. He injured his shoulder now. And but he says right out. The minute to stop. And to think that an accident as simple as that could take somebody's life, is beyond words for me.
Yeah, and such a big character as well as everything else too, isn't it?
Such a character and such a great fella. Jesus, such like Manus had so much to offer. Honest to God, it only just gotten elected in May time there, the local council.
Yes.
That whole aspect of his life is only beginning. Like and his very nature and personality, I have no doubt he would have been a huge asset in that council if he ever had gotten to the table. Like, because he had genuine interest in people and people's welfare and seeing fair play. Like,
I was very sincere from that side of things, wasn't he?
Very sincere, and
And
when
such
you
a
look
great
at him,
ambassador even for the Donegal Rally too, for the guy that won it 3 times.
he took
You
the
could
words
put him
out
up
of my
and
mouth.
he could
Uh,
speak anywhere about it, you know, and you would.
Exactly. And, you know, he was a great sportsman. He played Gaelic football, he played soccer, he was a rally man, and he was a manager of some of them teams as well. You know, and I think the team he was a manager of actually won the championship that year as well. Every he put his hand, he almost turned a goal.
Yes.
You know, but he's an unbelievable character,
Yeah.
and
a family man too, never mind nothing else too, you know, like
family man.
anywhere you see them, how many kids they not always hanging off them, you know. So.
Exactly. No, that was manners, and that's
Yeah.
like I was out at the graveyard on Sunday there, and I got to see his grave quite frequently. My parents are very, very close by, and I never go out there unless I go and visit him as well. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to take in sometimes that he's not here.
You still expect to see him every now and again too, don't you? You know, so.
You do, and you know, you were there for the funeral and the wake, and you know, the outpouring of grief at that time has been unprecedented. I don't know. I saw the Dunlop's program on TV the other night there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it, and it showed Joey Dunlop's funeral, and it just brought me back to Manus's funeral.
It was that same kind of, yes.
The amount of people and cross community, and you know, everybody was there. Like, you know, but it's a crying shame. But look, we have to deal with Kevin as best we can. But as I said before, I can't imagine how the families cope.
No, that's it.
You know, that's the real tragedy in them youngsters and that type of thing. But anyway, God bless them, and hope. I see Bernie quite often there too. You know, meet her about. They're doing well. They look to be doing well anyway. You know, and they're as positive as they can. Like so. So if you think about it, it's 3 years. Like he won the rally. I've said before. I was at the finish line in Planet Head the year Manus won the rally, along with 500 other people.
Yes.
When he come rolling down from the stage finish down to where all the spectators and the press. Were you at that point?
No, not that year. No, that wasn't at the finish that first time.
Okay, that was one of the best Donegal sport moments I've ever seen.
Yes.
Be there, and I am a competitor racing against him.
Yes.
You know, and I was kind of working or helping with the radio that particular Highland. I think I was helping out with. I was there at that moment, and the sheer joy and celebration, and that moment was, you know, when they got up in the car and realised they had won. For the first time, it was incredible.
Yeah.
I've never seen like it since, and I consider it often, think about it, and I think that was one of the best celebrated moments I've ever been honoured to witness. Like, and nothing to do with myself, but I felt every bit of it. Like,
yes,
you know, and I thought it was tremendous. And Donald obviously, he's won 3 rallies, and he's had that, like, it'll go down history for many years.
Like that's iconic, won Donegal 3 times in a row. It's the stuff of dreams, isn't it? You know,
stuff of dreams. Stuff of dreams. That's the whole. It's almost unbelievable the way it all ended. Like, you know. But anyway, such is life.
So changing the subject completely. Whenever you started out in the mid to late 70s, did you ever envision the journey? Did you always want to be the best, even back then, or did it just start to snowball? And
I suppose, Kevin, when I started out back then, I don't know. Like, I don't think I wanted to be the best, or really knew where you were going with it. Like, because it was all at the beginning. You were in there and learning and getting on it and meeting people and traveling to rallies and so on. But you know, I think one of the biggest attributes that I have and sees me through quite a lot of things is a great ambition. Like, you know, ambition to do well, and put in the effort, you know, put in the work and put in the preparation. That when you get to the occasion, that you know, all that preparation should lead to the result. Like, you know, like, it takes 2 to tango, as you know, and more often than not, the people I've won with, anyway, the people I've won rallies with, and people I compete with, like they need top co-drivers, like, because them boys are top men no matter what they do, like.
Yes.
And they expect that level. They expect, you know, that you're fit to do the job, like.
Yep.
And you know, even though I come up with some great drivers through the 80s, like, and all the way, James Coleman's a great at the beginning, James Cullen had showed great ambition too, and I feel I got a bit from him, you know, even though we went our separate ways. Like,
yes,
and it's ironic we come around together again, and he's won Donegal Rally twice, and I've won it 4 times. You know, it's ironic that we've come around and we've had that success, like, and having started out together. He and I did the rally in '98 as well, I think. Something happened. But that's what I think has seen me through, and you know, I do believe I'm a wee bit lucky. You know, and I know I've said this before 100 times. Say, the more I practice, the luckier I get.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, and of course, through the '90s, I had the best teacher you could ever ask for. You know, I was very privileged to be in that position. See how it was done. See, you know, to co-drive for Bertie and do all them rallies and being such a fantastic team. Like, the whole team was fantastic. The driver was fantastic. Car was the best you could get. Tires, service crew, the gravel crew, team management, everything. Even the co-driver, if I may say so myself. We were all on top of our games. I was a good bit younger than what I am now, and I was on top of my game. And look, every day's a learning day, no matter what. Like, but you know, you learned your trade and you knew how to do it. And I've had an incredible career, and I'm very grateful and privileged to have survived it, because I had a few near misses along the way, and ended up in hospital a few times too. And thank God I have survived that, and I'm still in one piece. But the more I do it, the more I feel, you know, I know if I get on with somebody, for example, if I get on with Garry to do the Donegal Rally and we have the right car, I know, first of all, we're capable of winning. I've no doubt about that. When looking at everybody else, I say we're as fast as any of these boys on our day, providing we apply ourselves. You know, well, that kind of confidence, like, I know we can do it. And I don't mean that in a brash way.
No.
I don't go in your face, we're capable of winning this rally, whatever.
No.
I know we can do it ourselves, quietly confident, if you like. And any of my drivers I was with, Mark Higgins, Mark Fisher, Rory Fisher, Manus Kelly, Garry Jennings, James Cullen, Vincent Bonner, James McDade, Ron Lyons, Dickie Hall, all them boys that I rally with. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody there. Niall McShea, geez, Niall McShea,
and Alastair as well.
Alastair, Martin Rowe as well. You know, I rallied quite a bit with him. He was a world championship. He was a production cup world champion driver then. Rallied in China, and I could just go there, Kevin, jump on the car, just do it.
Yes.
You know, there was no, just done it, won the rally, and just to show it was no flash in the pan, went back a month later and done the same thing and won again. You get the right blend and it works. It happens. Like, yeah. So anyway, as I say, I feel a wee bit lucky too, and lucky and privileged, and I have to be grateful to all my drivers who kept me safe through all the years. Like, because you know, it's a very dangerous game, this as well. Like, well known.
But in return, you've kept them safe too. Obviously, you know, you've done your job as well. So.
Well, of course and like all good top drivers find good top co-drivers as well. There's no mistake that they always end up, you know, that's the way, and that's why it's a team, and that's how it works. Like, and you know, there's a sort of parallel confidence between you. You know, I have every confidence in Garry, or my driver, and he's every confidence in me. It's a sort of parallel thing, or coincide, you know. So you never have to worry about anything, you know, when the car and you're doing 200 kilometers an hour through Knockalla, like, and you're going out kissing the barriers, like, I don't bother with, like.
No, you're in your zone, and you're happy to be there.
In the zone, and you know, it just happens, like, and I know a lot of time now you can get the light scared out. Don't get me wrong. But by and large, you know the limits, and you know, it doesn't take it out of you, like, you know. So that's being a co-driver, Kevin. That's what that is.
Yes. Well, I think, you know, that's as good a point to you can draw a line down below this year. And so, Rory, really appreciate your time, and thanks for everything.
Oh, no problem, Kevin. It's great to sit down and have a chat like this every now and again, and especially at the time, I guess, when we're all in lockdown.
Yes.
So, keep it interesting, and hopefully we'll have a few more rallies before very long, and a few safe rallies anyway.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
That was Rory and me talking rallying. I'd like to thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'd also like to extend a special word of thanks to everyone who has shared, liked, commented on my previous podcast. It really is very much appreciated. The response has been phenomenal. Until the next time, where I speak to Frank Kelly, I want you all to stay safe and take care. Speak soon. Bye.